Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So today I want to show you what an average day on a crazy, sexy, plant-empowered diet looks like. I often get asked the question, Chris, what do you eat? What do you drink? Tell me, be specific, help me out, girl. So I made a day and I'm going to show you. I like to start with purified water in the morning with a little lemon. It kind of gets the pipes moving and clears out the body, helps tickle the liver to dump toxins, so that's a great way to start. And if you like caffeine, I probably suggest having a little green tea or something like that after your water. Trying to stay away from coffee, I know it's not always possible, but green tea is definitely better for you and it's high in antioxidants. So after your tea, you might want to go on over to the green juice. If you've been following me for a while, you know I adore my green juice. In Crazy Sexy Diet, I have a recipe that's called Make Juice Not War. In Crazy Sexy Kitchen, we have Morning Glorious green juice. So I'm just gonna pause for a second and take a little sip of the Morning Glorious. Friends, absolutely delicious. What we do is we make a big batch in the morning, and we store them in these beautiful mason jars that you get at your hardware store. And then you put them in your fridge and you can take them with you. You can bring them to the office. They're nice and handy. And we have green juice 1, 2, 3 times a day. We don't like to let it go overnight. Sometimes we do. As the day goes on, the juice oxidizes. It's not as fresh. So we make a big batch in the morning and boom, we are ready to go. Now, we've had our liquid experience for the start. 2 different breakfast ideas. We've got a lot of great breakfast ideas in Crazy Sexy Kitchen. This is my copy already dog-eared, scribbled on. Pages are stuck together and I wrote it. It's amazing. So 2 ideas. I love oatmeal and I love to add blueberries or raisins. I love to add flax seeds. I love to add lots of nuts and seeds to my oatmeal. I also like to cook my oatmeal with almond milk and with a little bit of coconut butter for the great fats. So this breakfast is probably something that I'll consume maybe like 3 times a week. Another option would be a tofu scramble. Tofu scrambles are absolutely delicious and they're really, really easy to make. The one that I made this morning from my little honey, who's behind the camera, is just a basic tofu. It's actually sprouted tofu and it's definitely organic. And I put whatever spices we had handy. I put some turmeric, which is really fantastic for you, some onion, some garlic. I topped it off with some avocado and a little pepper. Also salt and pepper to taste. Super easy. The bread that I used is rye. Rye has less gluten in it, so it's easier for you to digest, and it's absolutely fabulous. Now, if you're needing a little bit of green juice mid-morning, or you want a little pick-me-up, look who's waiting for you. So we've done our morning. You might say, Chris, well, what are we gonna have for lunch now? Although you might not be that hungry for lunch at noon, maybe you're waiting a little longer. This is a lot of great food. What I made today was the Save the Tuna sandwich from the book, Crazy Sexy Kitchen. Now we usually serve this on rye. Save the tuna meaning it's not tuna. The tuna, they're swimming while we're eating nuts and seeds and kelp and lemon and all these wonderful spices and herbs. It's absolutely delicious. Super easy to make. All you need is a Cuisinart. Again, we like to serve it on rye, but since I had rye for breakfast, I just put it in a little wrap. Oh, there's some pickles in there. There's some more onions in there. There's so many goodies in there. But we need to have our greens. So greens are always handy in my house. Lots and lots of greens, big mixing bowl of greens, nice and washed and ready to go. What I also made was a great dressing from Crazy Sexy Kitchen. This is the Dijon vinaigrette. And I gotta say, Chad outdid himself with this vinaigrette. I like vinaigrette. I really like Dijon vinaigrette, but he taught me about sherry vinegar and that has changed my life. So go ahead and pour this on here. And again, you can get the recipe in Crazy Sexy Kitchen. For the Save the Tuna recipe, you guys can download that recipe in my free sneak peek. So you don't even have to get the book. You can just go ahead and get that free little download at chriscarr.com and you can start saving the tuna. So here we go. Lots and lots of greens. I love my greens, everybody. And you know what? I'm gonna garnish it with some hemp seeds. High in protein, really wonderful hemp seeds. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's lunch, and it's so pretty, and it's so kind, and it'll be very kind in your body. Okay, so moving on, what's for dinner, Chris? I'm coming over, and I wanna know what's for dinner. Well, oftentimes, dinner's pretty simple at my house. And if you wanna get some absolutely delicious, foodie, fantastic meals for Thanksgiving or the holidays or birthdays, we've got all of that covered in Crazy Sexy Kitchen. And we also have super simple meals too. So this recipe is kind of like my go-to fast food. It's soba noodles with a little bit of tempeh. And I learned how to cook tempeh when I was macrobiotic, but also was refreshed with Chad's help. And you'll learn about that in our cooking classes and also in the book. A great way to cook your tempeh is to actually boil it in water with some gluten-free tamari. So you boil it in water with some gluten-free tamari, and that helps it stay nice and juicy, because sometimes if you just put some oil in the pan and you start cooking it, it can be very dry. So you boil it for a while. If you've got time, you could boil it for up to an hour, and the tamari just is soaked in by the tempeh. And then after a while, you take it out. For me, last night I made this tempeh and I only had 15 minutes, and so I did the 15-minute version. I take it out of the pot, I put some oil in my pan, and I just came across this oil. I did break the cap, but I just came across this great oil. It's an organic sesame oil that's lightly toasted, and it's by this company Bija. Bija is not paying me. I do not work for Bija, but I absolutely love this oil. It's so delicious. So I put a little bit of this sesame oil in the pan, and then I'll toast and slightly saute the tempeh in the oil. It gets that nutty sesame flavor. Cut it up, put it on top of the soba. The soba, I also added a little bit of the oil and a little bit of the tamari. So super delicious and super easy. And my grandma always taught me to garnish, 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 garnish. So there's a little garnish of parsley right there. Now you know we gotta have our greens. We just gotta have our greens. So there's extra salad from earlier, although Brian probably ate it all, so we'll imagine that he left some for us. So if I don't have the salad, I might just go ahead and saute some kale with some garlic and some olive oil and some sea salt and some pepper to taste. Absolutely fantastic. But I almost forgot more garnish here. These are black sesame seeds. I'm just gonna throw a little bit of these on here. It looks even prettier. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm gonna show it to you. Ooh, fantastic. Did I need another green juice? If I did, it's right here. Last but not least, for dinner, I might include some fermented veggies. Really great for your gut, really great for your digestion, great for your overall gut health. We need to keep those good guys happy and the bad guys in check. So a little raw sauerkraut is something I might include. Now, you might be asking, Chris, this is a delicious and easy and nutritious day filled with vitamins, minerals, enzymes, oxygen, protein, calcium, all the things that you need on a plant-based diet. What about dessert? Well, those of you who have been following me for a while know I'm not a big dessert person myself. What makes me super happy? I'm gonna show you. And I'm gonna show you by using the magic freezer. What? There's a freezer right here. This is often something that we will do. We freeze fruit. Freeze honeydew, freeze cantaloupe, we'll freeze some pineapple, freeze some mango. And when we're sitting around watching Downton Abbey, smiling and laughing because we love Maggie Smith, and I imagine offering her some of my honeydew. Like, Maggie, would you like some honeydew? And she said, well, yes, as a matter of fact, I'd love some honeydew. Right? This is a fantastic, easy dessert. And if you want something more than fruit, my friends, we've got lots of desserts in Crazy Sexy Kitchen. We've even got a fabulous chocolate cake, so you don't just have to have fruit. I hope that this inspires you in some way and shows you that it's really easy to upgrade your lifestyle, to eat more plants, to take better care of yourself. It does require a little bit of planning, but you are worth it, my friends. If you're looking for more recipes, Crazy Sexy Kitchen, my beautiful cookbook with my friend Chad Sarno comes out on October 30th. So we've got 150 plant-empowered recipes there that might help you out. Also, if you would love to learn how to be a better cook, for those of you who are buying the book online, you can head on over to chriscarr.com and click on cooking classes, because we have free cooking classes for you. 12 classes total, over an hour and a half of footage. I've been hearing rave reviews about these classes. People are really enjoying them. So until next time, have a wonderful time in the kitchen. Get juicy, cook your hearts out, and I will see you soon.
I'm going to show you how to make two of my favorite on-the-go snacks. The first one is trail mix, made with nuts, seeds, and my favorite dried fruit. So this is really easy. I hate to even call it a recipe because you're literally throwing in nuts and seeds, dried fruit, coconut, even some dark chocolate chips if you want, into a bowl, and that's it. So I like to start with seeds. My favorite are pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. So I'm going to do about a cup of pumpkin seeds. And again, this is such a loose recipe that you really don't have to measure anything. You can totally eyeball it. But I like to just do this just for portion concern. So here are, these are lightly salted sunflower seeds. So I would definitely do lightly salted or unsalted. And then with nuts, I really love walnuts or almonds, but today I'm going to use some walnuts. About a cup of those. And then we have coconut, which is great. It's a great source of saturated fat in terms of it has a lot of medium chain triglycerides. I talk about coconut oil all the time for its health benefits, so this is great to add in. And I'm going to do about a half a cup. And I actually have two versions of this. So I have the shredded version and then, or excuse me, the flaked version and then the shredded. So the shredded is just a different type of texture, and I like to have both of those in there. Next, dried cranberries, because they're really sweet, but they're also super tart. So I'm going to do about a half a cup of those. And again, this is really just your personal preference, so just have fun with it. And then with cashews, I like raw unsalted cashews. And I'm going to do about a half a cup of those. Next, I have apricots here, and these are unsulfured. So if you notice, most of the ones in the store are bright orange. So those ones are the sulfured, and that just means that it has a preservative and a chemical that almost allows it to retain its color. So I really don't care how beautiful they are. I'm just worried about the nutritional value, and I don't mind eating brown apricots if they don't have that ingredient on it. So I'm just gonna quarter these, and you can put in as many as you want. I'm gonna probably put in about a half a cup of these. You can get away with not chopping the really, really small ones. So I'm just gonna kind of pick through here and get all the small ones. And then next, I'm gonna add dried mulberries. So mulberries are great. They're really high in fiber. Here in Nashville, we actually have about 3 mulberry trees in our backyard, which was an amazing discovery in the spring because we have tons of fresh mulberries that are just falling from the trees all year, or excuse me, all season long. These ones are the white mulberries, but ours are purple, so you can use any variety. I highly recommend trying them because they're really crunchy, very sweet but tart at the same time, so it's almost like a cranberry in that way. And then you're just gonna stir them. Stir all of this together so it looks something like that. It's really beautiful. And like I said, this is a really great combination of energizing nutrients. So you have your carbohydrates from your dried fruits, you have fiber in those as well, then you have all of your healthy fats, especially with the coconut, and then with the nuts and seeds, they contain protein and fiber as well. So it's a really good combination to keep you going. So that's that. And what I typically do is I have these really cute small mason jars, and I'll just fill them up. And this to me is a serving. I think this holds probably a little over 1/4 of a cup. And I just pack it in there and just screw on the lid. And that's super simple on-the-go snack. You can fill up quite a bit of these. I mean, the more mason jars you have at home, I think it's better just to prepare and just have them for the week ahead. So I have tons of these, but I'm not going to show you how to fill a dozen of them. Otherwise, I'll just keep them in a Ziploc bag or in a really large mason jar and then just prep them as the week goes on. And that's it. The next snack that I'm going to share with you today to make for on the go or just around the house when you just need a quick bite are energy truffles. So the base of them are dates, nuts, seeds, a nut butter of some sort. So today I'm going to use peanut butter, but I do love cashew butter, almond butter in them as well. And then some rolled oats, a little bit of sea salt, vanilla extract, and then some really fun things like bee pollen, hemp seeds, and shredded coconut. So to start, you'll definitely need a high-speed blender for this, like a Vitamix, or you could use a food processor just with a really sharp blade. So you're gonna start just by pitting your dates, and you really want these super soft. So if you can see, they're really squishy, very, very fresh dates. If your dates are dried and they're a little bit too hard, what I recommend is to just soak them in boiling water for about 3 minutes, and then that should get them really plump and super soft, ready to use. So I'm just gonna do about 2 cups of fresh soft dates. Now this will make 20 energy truffles, if not more, if you make them about a tablespoon in size. And that's really only, you know, what you need, maybe even 2 of those at a time. Okay, and then we're gonna do about a pinch of sea salt. I typically get my nut butters salt-free so that I can personally adjust the sodium content. So that's just a tip. If you're already getting a nut butter that has sodium, then I probably would go really, really light-handed on that one. And then vanilla extract, and then some maple syrup. So the dates are really, really sweet already. The maple syrup is just for a binder. So I'm gonna start with just about 1/4 of a cup. And then you can always add a little bit more if you need a little extra help for them to become bound together. So then I'm gonna add about a cup of walnuts, maybe a little bit extra, and then about a cup of sunflower seeds too. And again, these are lightly salted and lightly and roasted a little bit just on the skillet, just for a little taste. And then about 1/2 cup of rolled oats. Okay, and this is where you can put your blender to test because it's gonna get really loud. And you'll probably use your tamper for this because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need a little extra help. What I typically do is start by pulsing it. That way everything can kind of fall to the bottom and the base, and the blender gets a little bit coated with the maple syrup. And then you can ramp it up a little bit better. Okay, so now that this is well combined, it won't be pureed. It's still gonna be really chunky, and that's exactly what you want. So clear space and get your mixing bowl, and then we're just gonna pour it in here. Now I use a wooden spoon and just kind of work around the edges to loosen everything up because again, it's gonna be really, really sticky. And this is the exact texture that you want. So if you see that it's too liquidy for you, what I would do is I would just quickly add in some rolled oats so it can start to absorb some of the liquid, or you can add in just additional nuts and seeds. And if it's too dry, on the opposite, just add a little bit more maple syrup or even just like a couple tablespoons of water. I really wouldn't go heavy-handed on the water. Okay, you could really stop here, but I like to get every last bit in here. Okay, so now that that's done, I recommend like getting your fingertips just a little bit wet. So I just coat it with water, or even coconut oil works really, really well. And you're just gonna get in here and almost act like you're kneading bread dough. And then you're gonna take about a tablespoon of the mixture and just roll them in a ball. It's just like that size. And set them aside. And so you'll repeat this with the entire batter until you have all of your truffles formed. And then what I typically do is I just put them on a really big plate or a cookie sheet and then just transfer them to the refrigerator and chill them for about 30 minutes up to 2 hours just to get them really firm. And then you can roll them into like shredded coconut or bee pollen, hemp seeds, raw cacao nibs, or just eat them plain. They're really, really good just like this. Okay, so now that you have all of your truffles formed, like I said, you can leave them plain and just as is. They're really delicious. It almost tastes like a peanut butter no-bake cookie. Or you can roll it into, like I said earlier, some fun toppings. So I'm just going to start rolling a couple in some shredded coconut. And this is unsweetened shredded coconut. So it's just a couple like that. And then some of them in some hemp seeds. And hemp seeds are really great sources of protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and they taste really great. So that's just a really great energy boost. And then bee pollen, which is one of my favorite superfoods, if you want to call it, but it's loaded with B vitamins, and that obviously is just immediate energy. So you can just continue going in this fashion until all of them are coated, or like I said, you can just leave them plain. Another really fun coating is cocoa powder. Or if you want to make a little bit of raw chocolate, you can mix cocoa powder with some coconut oil until it becomes like a fine chocolate sauce, and then coat them in that. And then if you put it in the refrigerator, it hardens, almost like those magic shells. If you're all familiar with Magic Shell, it's like a horrible chocolate like coating that you put on ice cream. But anyway, the point is that it hardens, so that's a really fun topping. So you'll just repeat this process until all of them are coated, or just leaving some plain. And then I store these in the refrigerator for at least a half hour to let this set again. And then if I'm on the go, I'll just put these in little mason jars, which are my favorite. So I'll typically put in about 2 or 3, depending on how big you made them. So in this example, I'll just kind of show it to you overflowing, but here's 3. And then you'll just secure it with a lid, and you're good to go. It's the easiest snack you can bring with you, and it's also great just to have at home. Like when I'm working at home and I just want a quick bite, they're just great sitting in the refrigerator and just pop them in and enjoy. So I hope you love them.
Hey, it's Jason from Mind Body Green, and today we have Yogi Catherine Budig with us, and we're going to talk food.
Hey!
Catherine?
Yes.
What do you eat? Let's start. What do you have in the morning? What do you have during the day? Well, let's start with breakfast.
Okay.
What do you eat for breakfast?
I ate breakfast at 6:30 a.m.
Oh,
in
wow.
the morning. I'm actually very specific about my routine of what I eat. I either have brown rice bread,
Ooh.
or tapioca bread, which was an accident. It was a very happy accident because it looked like the brown rice bread, and I was in a rush and I grabbed it. It's delicious. Tapioca is amazing.
Do you have coffee?
So, no, I can't.
No coffee. Do you drink, what do you drink? What do you drink for a beverage in the morning?
I drink a huge glass of water with lemon juice in it.
Oh, okay.
It really gets your system going.
So you
right
have
away.
what about snacking?
And I use almond butter and
Ooh.
raw local honey.
Oh.
So I don't just eat the bread. That's so boring. Come on, give me some credit.
Okay, that
so
sounds good.
I toast the bread,
Okay.
and then I put the raw local honey because I have really bad allergies, and I've been told that if you have local honey, it helps adjust you to the allergens in your
Okay.
area. And I give a little bit to my dog as well. She's there the entire time. And then
Does she help?
she helps clean up.
Okay.
And then I do a raw almond butter. It's funny, I eat the roasted now and it feels too rich to me, so
Right.
your taste buds adjust.
And how long, when you eat this, how long does it hold you off for? Do you have something in the mid-morning? Or?
I often don't get home. I'll leave my house around 6:50, and I often won't get home until 1 or 2 in the
Oh,
afternoon.
wow. What do you eat then?
Well, fortunately, I have a client that always has food at her place,
Aha.
and she is fabulous. She's a cook that cooks for her all the time, and it's like all this organic chicken and vegetables and quinoa and brown rice and avocado and fresh fruit, and it's amazing. So I kind of live off the kindness of my client for lunch.
That's a nice kindness to live off of.
I really look forward to it, I'm not gonna lie. Yoga's done, I'm like, let's go to the kitchen.
Can you invite friends? Can my wife and I come over too?
We'll have a big party. So lunch is normally with my client. I'm a big chocolate girl.
Really? What type of chocolate do you like?
I love dark chocolates. I'm not a big milk chocolate person.
Okay. How dark do you go? What percentage?
I'm gonna say kind of in the 70
Okay,
realm.
that's good.
Sometimes I can go to 80, but when you start to get too dark, it's
Right.
like,
Right.
it's a little jarring for my system. Vosges chocolates are
Vosges is great.
unbelievable. So good. The Barcelona bar is a mixture of milk and dark, actually, so I can
Mm-hmm.
handle that. There's also this amazing line, Clio, I think is one of them, is
Theo.
really good, right?
We love Theo.
Theo,
We
yes.
have that. We have the
Theo
salted
is
caramel
amazing.
all the time.
Oh, so good. And then there's also another eco-friendly line that does dark chocolate and quinoa. It's like
Really?
it's like a healthy Nestle Crunch bar.
Really?
It's so good. So that's amazing. And then the Dragona, is that how you say it?
Dagoba?
Jagoba.
Yes, great chocolate.
There's
great
a lavender blueberry.
Yes, that's a great.
That's unbelievable. And then I just got one with rose in it. That was
Right,
really
right.
amazing too.
And so, what do you eat for dinner? Do you have chocolate before dinner or after dinner?
Especially after a nap, I have to have chocolate.
Oh, so there's a
directly-
nap in between the meals.
Well, if I can get a nap in, I'm very happy.
Okay.
I've just noticed that I have to be very conscious after a nap because I will go straight to the chocolate drawer and go to town. So that's when I have to practice lots of tapas and discipline.
Okay.
Dinner, I'm really into forbidden rice lately,
Okay.
which is a black rice that's really nutty and earthy.
Right.
That's amazing. I love arugula.
Arugula's
Arugula, it's a
great.
vegetable. It's one of my favorites. So the other night I did forbidden rice with organic free-range chicken broth. And I have the salt from Peru that's really amazing that I use. And I mixed it with just on a bed of arugula. And I took little baby tomatoes, chopped them up, and I made a salsa verde, which I know sounds fancy, but it's actually really simple. You just
This
take...
doesn't sound, this is like a real meal.
No, this is so simple though. That's the thing. I know it sounds really exotic and
Right.
luxurious, but a salsa verde, there are lots of variations. You take a good olive oil, you take garlic, and you take parsley
Right.
and salt, and you throw it in a blender or a food processor, and that's a salsa verde.
Oh wow.
It's
That's
that
easy.
simple. And
Right.
so I poured that over the tomatoes with breadcrumbs. You just shove it in the oven for 45 minutes at 350.
Wow.
And then you have roasted tomatoes, and I put that on top of my bed of arugula and rice, and it was...
You're not kidding. You
fabulous.
really do cook.
But yeah, I do. It's real. But it's easy. I mean, yes, you do have different things, but I mean, raw arugula, pretty simple. Rinse, put it on a plate. Rice, you put it in a pot, boil. It takes 20 to 40 minutes.
Well, you make it sound so easy, so we're going to invite everyone to come over for dinner.
Okay, fabulous.
Thanks so much, Catherine.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks.
Bon appetito.